Whoa, I just said I love you to the podcast.
Good.
What am I, Statler?
Hi, I'm Roxy.
And I'm Diana. This is We Watch Stupid. Today we're going over episode 12, Field of Dreams. I haven't actually seen that 80s movie, but I think that's the if you build it, they will come. I think that's where that quote comes from.
Oh, interesting.
Yes.
That's kind of an
Season
epic
6
one.
of Before the 90 Days, I should also clarify.
Oh, yes. A little bit of housekeeping up top. I am going to Canada again next weekend. Next weekend. So we're going to be recording late when I get back on Monday. So just a heads up if you are, you just need your fix of We Watch Stupid, because I know there's just like
that's me.
The masses are ravenous.
Is there a term for, is it like a Canadian file, like a audio file, or, if you're really into Canadians?
A canophile is really dumb, but that's what comes to mind.
Yeah. Okay, so lots of couples.
Very long episode.
Very long episode. I'm not sure what happened, but they paid a lot of attention to Riley and Violet. Do we want to start with them or do we want to end with them?
Actually, let's end with them. I like ending with the most dramatic. We should probably, you want to start with David and Sheila because, again, nothing happened there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I did find it interesting that he makes noises, but he doesn't know he's making noises.
Oh, yeah, huh? I was trying to think of like where that would come from, but maybe it's just like a comfort thing.
Well, yeah, because when the producers asked him, he said that when he's trying to get someone's attention and he'll grunt, that he can feel that he's making a noise. But what Amy and Sheila were talking about was like him almost humming in the car.
It was interesting. It sounded very rhythmic. Like it did almost sound mechanical.
I bet you it is like a self-soothing thing, or like, is that what you said? Comfort is comforting?
Yeah, self-soothing type thing.
Because, yeah, I mean, like when you think about it, you can feel yourself making a noise.
Mm-hmm. Now I'm going to be thinking about that while we're recording.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me too.
The first thing I noticed when they came on screen was that Sheila's wearing a Curves Are Beautiful shirt.
She's so curvaceous, that one.
I know. Like, this is not on the right body type. But they're going to the beach to get some, blended family time. And what do you think about Sheila putting all this pressure on David to like bond with the kid? You got to bond with this kid,
I get it.
Yeah.
But it is interesting because like they started out with, do you have any questions for him? What questions do I ask him? Ask him about sports. And then it's like, I like volleyball and basketball. Cool. Like, kids, you can't. If you can speak to kids and like have like a riff, it's still hard. Like even if you're both speaking English, but when you throw in the language barrier plus the deafness, it's impossible. So I was really impressed with David, thumb warring and like doing the slap game. Like,
totally.
I guess it did take him like a week or so to like figure that out.
Yeah, I'm curious where John Reel has been this whole week.
Well, he was at a friend's house, remember? Right, because it's been a week since the mom died, since the grandma died.
But like before that, what was? I guess they were hanging out in a hotel, banging. So
totally, yeah. But his penis didn't fit.
Yeah, I was impressed that he's like, yeah, kids just like to play around. I don't need to like ask him questions,
which is so true.
Yeah.
And like, you can see when they're like splashing and I mean, kids don't want to talk.
No.
When you get them to talk, they say stupid things.
Yeah, especially not boys, especially not at this age. I feel like he's around like 10 or 11. We learn a lot about like David and his kind of like, I don't want to say like motivations, because I don't think that's what's like I don't think having a family is what's motivating him to be with Sheila, but we learn in his ITM that he's always wanted to be a father and he wants to be like an involved father. I feel like that's him saying he wants to be an involved father is more a reflection of what the US expects of fathers versus
Oh,
David,
interesting.
because like if you're a parent, you should be involved. Um,
Yeah, but wait, do you think that US fathers are involved or US fathers aren't involved?
I think they aren't. I mean,
Aren't.
we
Yeah,
don't have paternal leave. We don't
there
like the
is.
bar for men is so low.
Well, yeah. Yeah. It's not like in like Europe, but I would think that like in the Philippines, like I mean, I know that John Riel's father like left or she left him and then the guy's not in the picture anymore.
Yeah, so shitty.
But yeah, I think it has to do more with like values than culture.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. It was very heartfelt. Like these people don't really have problems. It even seems like, they kind of built up this drama last episode about Sheila being like, "Oh, I don't think he has enough money to support us," which I am also nervous about, but it didn't seem like that was as heavy on her mind.
Yeah, they just
Uh
brought it up the one time.
yeah.
And he was like it was really sweet to hear him say, like, it'll be my responsibility to provide and care for you when you're
Yeah, and it
there.
was like not a big deal for him. He just said it
Yeah,
outright and he didn't seem to have any anxiety about it. He just said it
yeah.
kind of matter of fact. And
Mhm.
also, I love that he was like, if John Rio comes over to the US, I will have a similar experience of kind of being taken from everything that I knew
Mhm.
knew with going to this deaf school when I was younger. I just thought it was very sweet. I like keep because he's the American character and because it's 90 Day, I keep waiting for the shoe to drop with him or like with this couple. And like the mom dying was like really wild.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
couldn't have did not expect that, couldn't have planned that, but yeah, I think they're fine.
I think they're fine also because when they ask the kid if he wants to move to the States, he goes, "No." But then they're like immediately, "Oh, because you'll miss your friends and family?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'll miss my friends and family."
Yeah.
Not just like, "I don't wanna move with David." And then David
Yeah,
wasn't
exactly.
like, "Oh, it really hurt me that he said no." He
Yeah.
was like, "I understand how he would feel."
Yeah. Also, he's like a 10-year-old kid. You wanna take kids seriously, but like with a grain of salt, I guess. Like
No,
kids
don't
are
take him seriously.
okay.
The 8-year-old kid that I know, I don't believe anything that comes out of his mouth.
Fair enough. Anything else about those two?
I just wanted to point out that Amy did something weird with her shirt to go in the water.
Oh, I didn't notice it.
She, like she didn't have a swimsuit. It looked like she just, like, turned a tank top sideways and, like, put part of it over her neck as, like, a halter. It was weird.
Also, she's a champ. Like people on Reddit were noting this woman, Amy, is watching David sign in ASL
Mhm.
and then translating into Tagalog and or English and like not missing a beat. Like she
Yeah,
is just like she's doing so much and she's like so I mean, yeah, she learned ASL in a month. Like she's just meant I guess she's just meant to
yeah.
do this. She's amazing.
Also, the food looked good. That's the last thing I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
And yeah, let's go to Cleo and Christian. They only had one segment.
Yeah, this was oh yeah, that's right.
It was
So
astrology day.
astrology day. So they wake up and at the Airbnb the night after they had that like explosive, cringy,
Mhm.
awful fight, and they're going to get their like couple chart read. I'm
Mhm.
curious if this astrology reading was booked before they fought or not, because
I
it
think
just
it
seemed
it
like,
must be, right? 'Cause the astrologist had done her homework.
yeah, I guess. It's just like kind of wild timing, like right after this awful fight.
It's perfect. I love the
Yeah.
producers.
Christian is like he's kind of recounting his oh, wait, what does she say? Oh, so she's asking him how he feels about going to this reading, and he was like, "Well, I hope it's not like the fight last night where you fly
Yeah.
off the handle
I
and
hope you
I don't
can
get a
hear
chance
my
to
eye
defend
roll.
myself." I know. I was like, "You are so gross."
But she, like, fired one back at him too. Yeah, I just hate him. And then I liked how she explained that in her ITM that,
Mhm.
like, the astrology makes her feel more secure knowing that, like, start not just in this relationship, but, like, in other relationships too, I think, that their stars are aligned. Just with her autism, I think that's interesting, and, I mean, I know you know a lot about astrology and like it. Why do
I
you like it?
guess. I, like, go in and out of liking it. I mean, I like it because I think it's a funny way to judge people and tease people. Like, I now that I know that he is a Gemini, I'm like, "Oh my god, such a Gemini."
Oh, is this your
But
5th Gemini?
oh, that's right, she talked about it before. Yeah, I actually can't say that I have any, like, close relationships with Geminis, I think because I find whether maybe it's just a coincidence that Gemini people I've met tend to be, like, mercurial and obnoxious, but they tend to be mercurial and obnoxious.
Mm, mhm.
So,
And Cleo says it that Geminis tend not to like astrology because they talk bad on them.
yeah. Actually, oh my gosh, no, I'm getting dinner with a woman tomorrow night she's a Gemini, and I guess we are really close, but you wouldn't guess that she's a Gemini, but I was, like, trying to get her birth information out of her, and she was like, "Oh, this never really goes good for me," and I was like, "Okay, what's your birthday?" And she told me, and I'm like, "Oh, you're a Gemini. Yeah, I bet this isn't fun for you." And then they're in the ITMs, and they're asking him about what he thinks about the reading, and he knows that this is important for her, and
Uh-huh.
he's just trashing it,
He says
and
mumbo jumbo. When's the
like,
last time you described something as mumbo jumbo?
and she's sitting right next to him,
Yeah.
and
Disrespectful. Fucking
yeah.
Gemini.
I mean, I feel like a lot of people, if I, like, bring up astrology actually, he ends up kinda eating out of that
Uh-huh.
astrologer's hand.
Yeah.
A lot of people that say that they're not into it usually end up caring once you get into
Yeah.
it.
Because it is fun.
It is fun. It's not like yeah, you're not, like, divining the future or anything. It's just, like, a different way to think about
Yeah.
the world. So I live in Seattle, so there's, like, a lot of tech bros here, and so I got invited
Hot.
to this I got invited to this Friendsgiving one year where it was gonna be, like, basically all tech bros. And so I brought a tarot deck because I was
Yes.
like, this will be something that I can talk to people about without having to like hear about crypto. And so I did like 8 readings that night. It was crazy. I was like exhausted. But like every single person, mostly dudes that came up, they would like watch me do a reading and then they would be like, "What what is this? This is so like bleh, so stupid." And then I'd be
No,
like
it's not. It's super fun and accurate often.
and then I was like, "Well, do you want a reading?" And then they'd be like, "Yeah, sure, whatever." And then they'd be like eating out of the palm of my hand. They'd be like asking me questions about like their future and be like, "Oh, well, should I like apply for this job? Should I invest in this?" And I'm like, "10 minutes ago you were telling me I'm a piece of
Yeah.
shit."
They were probably all Geminis.
You're probably right.
Yeah. I have to say that his whole thing, like he said something like, "Well, Donald Trump and I have the same birthday. Like, do we have the same personality?" That's
Ha,
not how it works,
no.
bitch.
Also,
Like,
you
if you
might
were
be
born like next to each, like at the same minute next to each other,
right.
right? Because there's something about like each. well, each year, but then, like, where it was and the time and all of that
Yeah.
stuff. It's just like,
Mhm.
oh, and then his Donald Trump impression just made me wanna punch him in the face more than I already did.
He might have some things in common with Donald Trump. He likes to have the last word, he likes to get his way, and he's a malignant narcissist. So,
So yeah,
you do actually have a lot in common with Donald Trump.
yeah. Christian, you suck.
You
Is
got
that too
him.
are we getting too political? Is this like a
I know, freaking NPR
ooh,
opinion piece over
yeah.
here. Really hot take, Donald Trump's a malignant narcissist.
So
How'd
then
you
Eveline is the astrologer, right?
Mhm.
And
Evelina.
Evelina, oh, that's an even better name. He says Christian lacks sensitivity and tact. Hits it on the
And
head.
empathy. I think she said empathy. Lacks
Yes, I
tact
think
and
you're right.
empathy. It's like, "Whoa, coming in hot," and I'm assuming this is the first time that she's met this dude too.
Yeah. Well, that sort of shit just like goes to show that it is based in some sort of truth,
I haven't watched
in my opinion.
I haven't watched Indian matchmaking, but, I have South Asian friends that, like, they have, like, family astrologers, and apparently Indian matchmaking, like, you have to get these types of readings done to get matched. Like, a lot of Indian and South Asian culture, it's like astrology is very important, and you don't make big decisions
Ooh,
without these types of readings.
I like
So,
it.
I don't know. Science is also there's a bias to it, so, like, why couldn't this be a science also as well? I
True,
don't know.
true. And I also just think it helps you like be mindful of things.
Yeah,
Like, because
totally.
a lot of the things are like can like, not everything in your sign might quote unquote speak to you
Mhm.
or like apply to you, but it might. So be mindful of it and be a
Yeah.
better person. Christian.
What'd you think about his comment about, "Yeah, I think you kinda see me as an enemy sometimes."
Yeah,
I kind
because
of
he is an enemy.
felt like maybe, yeah, you kind of did that. Bleh. Just everything he's so because he looks like a potato and, like, isn't, like, this, like, chiseled, like, hot guy, I feel like I would be initially less suspicious of him using these kinds of, like, negging type things. I'm like, "Oh, there's no way he's gotten enough ass to, like, know how to use these things."
Oh,
You know what I mean?
interesting.
But he's the quote unquote life of the party and has probably well, we know that he harasses drunk women from the plane.
Mhm,
So,
mhm.
he probably has some tricks up his sleeve and we can definitely see it just pouring out of him in this reading.
Gross. Yeah. But yeah, so the last thing that happens is Cleo starts crying because Evelina,
Mhm.
she says that, like, they might not stay together, and then she says that she starts crying because she had nostalgia for when they were on Snapchat
Ugh.
and, like, things were good, and then since he's been here, there's been a lot. It's like, yeah, social media is kind of more fantasy than astrology.
Listen, I feel for Cleo because she seems like a nice but very sensitive person who has, like, ended up through, just, like, whatever happened with this trash potato man Christian. But her crying about how her internet relationship is different now that they're in person, I really could not like I couldn't feel bad for her in that moment. I'm like, "Oh, okay, so like yeah, your internet fantasy when you can say whatever you want, be whoever you want, like curate your pictures, filter your pictures, whatever. Yeah, it's going to be different when you're like living with the person
Yeah.
and around them 24/7.
Yeah.
That's
Well, I also think she was crying because of, like, they're probably not gonna be together, and she's not ready to let go. But they shouldn't
yeah.
be together. He sucks.
No, he absolutely sucks. Why don't we know? I mean, I've complained about this
How do
before, but
we know?
I really want to know more about her relationship history and like what like who has she dated before?
Mhm.
Has it been just like a parade of Christians and so like that's why she feels so comfortable and like attached to him? Or is Christian something very different and like she thought maybe going for someone really different would kind of deliver a positive result, whatever that is, you know?
She also might not have a like a much of a dating background. If she was transitioning
And she's like
and like
pretty
autistic.
introverted.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
So then
well,
like that
why don't we know that?
come on, tell us, Cleo. You're really good with your words. Tell us.
I know. Yeah, that's true. She is really good about telling us how she's feeling, and she's, like, very precise with the language that she uses around how she's feeling, and, like, I don't understand why we don't get more about her background. I mean, maybe
It's
they're
gonna piss
saving
you
that.
off.
You're probably right.
Yeah. Anything else with them?
No. Dempsey and Statler?
Perfect.
Okay.
Statler slept on the couch.
Good.
Yeah, good. Statler is just great. She's, you know, so eloquent with her, she hasn't closed the chapter with her ex-girlfriend. She shouldn't be asking to move in with me. She's very cordial in the morning before she goes to work. And Statler just is an idiot. Tells the producers that she was surprised that Dempsey thought that they were rushing into it because they've known each other for months.
I just think that this is such a lack of empathy. Like she just is choosing not to really hear where Dempsey is coming from. Cause even though they have this, so like
Yeah.
we'll get to it, but like even though they have this like heart to heart later at when Dempsey comes back home, she says in the ITM, like, I think she'll change her mind.
Yeah, I
That is
still need
just
to convince her to have me move in with her. So it's like
and
it's so ugh, she's talking out of both sides of her mouth.
yeah,
Or no, not even. She's just being manipulative. She's gonna like kind of pretend to go slow so then they can like
just to get
speed
what
it
she
up right at the end
wants.
of the trip.
Yeah, it's pretty shitty. You
Mhm.
know, we talked about her maybe love bombing last time, and I was thinking about that more, and I was thinking about, like, the person that kinda, like, love bombed, was, like, fixated on me before I met my current partner. He also told me that he had ADHD, and it was, like, pretty severe, but, like, he was well managed.
Mhm.
And I was wondering if maybe, like, that's just also hyperfixation because I know that's definitely part of ADHD, so I wonder
Mhm.
if maybe it's not love bombing, but it's just, like, a fixation, and she's just, like well, there's a lot going on with Statler, but I wonder if that's part of it, just, like, a fixation.
It could be. What did you we're skipping over Natalie's conversation for now, but because I want to ask you, so when Statler and Dempsey were having that adult conversation after Dempsey comes back from work,
Mhm.
uh, she says that she was rejected even before she was born or unwanted even before she was born. And then
Yeah.
she says, "What was so wrong with me?" What's your take
You
on that?
know, it's really upsetting because, like, she's internalized this rejection or, like, perceived rejection for being, you know, adopted. I also don't think that is Dempsey's problem, and she's
Mm,
trying to, I think, use her sob story to make Dempsey feel bad for her, also to get what she wants. So, like, while there might be some truth to how Statler feels about, like, her background, like, that is her feeling rejection and her feeling shame around it is something that, like, she has to work on. Like, Dempsey can't process that shame and that story for her. That's
mhm.
not Dempsey just can't do that.
I Yes, I agree with that. I kinda lost focus when like, with how their conversation was going, because I was taking notes and just like, "Ah, Statler, you suck." But it kinda came out of the blue for me. Like,
Oh,
I
yeah.
and that made me think that it was a manipulation tactic,
Yeah, totally. Yeah,
which
it didn't
because then
really
she's like,
have
"Can I hug you?" Like,
well,
it
Dempsey did ask her why she struggled with rejection. She said why, and then she asked why, and then Statler was like, "Oh, all of this stuff from my
okay,
previous for my life."
here's the thing, everyone struggles with rejection.
Mhm.
And then to say, "What's wrong?" Like, that is just so dramatic. What was wrong? What was so wrong with me?
Yeah, it's hard because on the one hand, like, that is very real for Statler, but
Mhm,
the way that it's kind of coming into this conversation where she is trying to push Dempsey into something, and we know from the ITMs that she's not really on board with Dempsey's
mhm.
boundary, that it does feel like a manipulation tactic.
Yeah. But so then going back to the conversation she had with her friend Natalie,
Mhm.
Natalie brings up a good point that, like, hey, maybe you talking about your ex and, that she feels less special.
Totally.
Yeah, because she's not special. She's just like the flavor of the week. Is that what kids are saying these days?
That is yeah, I think that's completely true. And also I would feel like so weird about her having like a British accent fetish. Like I like I don't know. I have a lot of East Asian like women friends and just the way that they talk about when there's just like markers, you can just like tell when someone has like an Asian fetish and it's just such a huge turn off. And I
Mm.
just I just would really have I think a hard time if I was Dempsey trying to figure out okay, well is it my accent or is it me? Like what
Yeah,
like what are
totally.
you actually attracted to here?
Yeah, she isn't like it. Like she can just be like dropped in and or like removed and then like
Yeah,
replaced. Like she's
totally.
replaceable is the thing. And like I believe that by Statler wanting to move so fast, that just shows even more that any of these people can be replaced
Yeah.
versus like it being a special thing that she wants to like live with this person versus she never got to like or not that she wanted to live with every single girl that she dated.
Mhm. I just don't understand this whole like checklist mentality that Statler has because it hasn't worked for her before. And like
Didn't you say
we
that's the definition of insanity?
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, she just has this checklist and she thinks that if she just checks off these boxes that this person is never going to leave her, but she doesn't have any evidence in her real life that that works. Like she hasn't
Yeah.
had any other long-term relationships and she's scared off the person like immediately before Dempsey by having this checklist.
Uh-huh.
So like why?
But she also gets bonus points for doing it faster.
You think?
Yeah, I think in, like, whatever weird little game she's playing with herself, she's like, "I can do it
Right.
faster this time. I can scare him away faster."
I really appreciated that, like, Natalie, her friend, and Dempsey basically said the same thing to her,
Exactly, yes.
and she's still not
Be in the
listening.
moment.
I I am so curious how so, like, all these 90-day nut jobs, they get all these nut jobs all over the place. They all so many of them seem to have, like, a rational friend or family member that's, like, willing to be on TV and, like, talk them through this.
Mhm.
Like, but then I was also thinking, don't don't you usually kind of like gravitate towards people that are more like you? So like, how are these unhinged, like, how do these unhinged people attract enough rational friends that they have a rational friend group to pick from, that someone would go on this show with them? Like, and why don't we
Mm,
see more unhinged friends like Tiffany,
I was gonna
Riley's
say,
friend?
like Riley's friend, yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of part of the 90-day bingo card, is like the friend that tells them they're fucking up.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of times the rational person is a family member. But
Yeah.
yes, I'm surprised that Natalie seems has her head on straight.
Yeah.
Like, and yeah, is rational. Because Statler sucks.
Yeah.
Just
She's
sucks.
just being very
I just
pushy,
again,
which is disrespectful.
ugh, dude,
And
live in the
then
moment.
and then
No?
towards like the end of the conversation, I was just like, this desperation isn't hot. Like, if you're on Dempsey's side, like, Dempsey seems to be into her because she says, like, "I love you, I wanna be with you, I don't wanna make this work," but
Mhm.
Statler's just like, "Please, like, please, will you be with me? Please, why won't you be with me? Why can't I move in? I just love you so much. Why won't
Aw.
you?" It's, like, so it's just not cute. I just would have such a hard time like, sitting across from someone like that, like, begging me to be with them. Like, isn't it always like you want what you can't have? So, like, kudos to Dempsey for, like, I guess, still ostensibly being attracted to her after this, like, sob
Yeah.
sob
So, like,
session.
it sounds like Dempsey is too understanding and accepting.
Maybe.
We've been getting to know each other for 7 months. Why can't we move in together?
It's so weird. Oh my god, Statler also at some point was like, "You have to lead with your heart, not with your brain."
No, no. Isn't there something I'm sure my therapist has told me multiple times where it's like the logical mind and the emotional mind, like
Mhm.
what are those circle diagrams
Oh,
called?
Venn diagram?
Yeah, like a Venn diagram of emotional and logical, and then like the smart decision is where the two meet.
Yeah, that's good
Yeah.
advice.
So Statler, you're wrong. Okay. Based on multiple therapists telling me that.
Yes. I get the sense that she isn't in therapy because she's, like, real unhinged. And if she is, she needs to get a better one.
Yeah, she needs a better one. Yeah, she's just the what was so wrong with me? Like, oh my god, that's like something that I like sobbed to myself in like deep depression, you know? Like that's not something I just like spit out on the couch.
She has no filter.
Yeah, which I also hate about her. I'm sorry, I hate her so much.
She's really obnoxious.
Yeah. Let's go to someone less obnoxious, Nicola. Just
Yeah.
kidding. He's super obnoxious.
I'm actually starting to kind of hate both of them. Maybe because I'm paying too much attention to like social media stuff. Cause like we know that Nicola, if he's not like living in the US, like he's been to the US with Meisha. They've been spotted at the Mall of America together. So it's like they're still
No.
together. And also Meisha is like a flat earther.
Mm,
So
mhm.
she comes off a lot smarter than she is on this show, apparently. And
Oh,
I'm just
good for
like,
her. She's good on camera.
yeah. I guess it's just like frustrating to see her like know that she's gone through this whole process, seen this man be the worst qualities of a teenager and an old man, and then still be with him. And yeah, but then I have to remember, like, okay, she's like here, she's like probably just trying to make the most of this trip, like make it as good as it can be.
Mhm.
But yeah, somehow still winds up being with him. Like, make it make sense.
Doesn't make sense to me. The fishing scene. It seemed
He says
very
he
treacherous.
He said he can tell she doesn't know how to fish. Did she ever say that she knew how to fish?
No, he just was being a weirdo. But I want you to know that the Lord Jesus himself was a fisherman. Cool man.
Yeah, cool
So
story,
your
bro.
one hobby is still religious.
Oh, yeah, huh. Dang.
I liked that she always holds her own.
She
Like, she's like,
does.
"You're walking too fast," and he's a little jerk, and it's like, "Oh, you're walking like a turtle." And then she's
Mhm.
like, "Wait, but the fish aren't gonna come here." I think that is actually kinda true. Fish aren't gonna come, like, right up to the rocks with the waves. Like, they
Where it's,
gotta
like,
catch it
smashing
out, yeah.
against the rock. Yeah.
That was a treacherous looking cove, and then she
Sh
falls because she's doing her own thing, not listening, but,
those cuts looked
he's
like
freaked out.
those cuts looked kinda bad. Like, when he was bandaging them, they were, like, bigger than they looked
But they
initially.
weren't so I thought that they were like, obviously, when you get cut in the ocean, that red color happens really fast, right?
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
they were, like, long it seemed like long, shallow scratches that were just bleeding because they were in water. But it wasn't
Yeah.
like because like, what you have to be concerned about is, like, when you're, like, step on, like, coral or, like, you step on a rock. If you fall on a rock, I don't think it's any different than falling on a rock in air.
'Cause you don't want, like, microorganisms in your cut and stuff.
Yeah, but
Okay.
he freaked out.
Well, I think that's, like, the machismo, that's the like, coming on, you know? He's just like, "Wom woman fall down, man must fix," you know, something like that. I don't know.
But I just hated that fishing scene just in general.
Yeah. Then they have this conversation about, I guess so they're meeting his family the next day, and they're having a conversation about how they're gonna act or what they're gonna talk about with the family, and she has to tell him that she wants him to be as proud of her as she is of herself, which I think is a crazy thing to have to say out loud to someone that is supposed to be your partner. But she just has, like,
It
that
is,
little faith in him.
it is, but it's also very mindful of her. She is like, I wouldn't think to say that, but she already knows that she needs to say that, and then she is proactive and does it.
I'm, like, almost fed up with how patient she
Yeah,
is.
totally. Yeah, especially once they get there.
I'm like, "How where is this like, I would love to be this patient, sure, but, like, at a certain point, doesn't don't like, you have to say this out loud to him.
Yeah. I
Like, at a certain
mean,
point, don't you just cut your losses? It's wild to me.
that's why the Greeks say everything in moderation.
Do they?
Oh my god, you've never heard Christine say that? Yeah, like, sorry, because when you were saying that, I was like, "Well, yeah, like, you wanna be patient, but you don't wanna be too patient." And then, like, yes, you wanna
Yeah,
be understanding like Dempsey, but you don't wanna be too understanding
yeah.
because at a certain point, it's
People are
counterproductive
just
and
yeah,
it's bad for you.
yeah. That's what definitely that's a good word for it. This feels counterproductive, like, this patience with him. Like,
Mhm.
is he really going to are you going to teach him how to be a human being? Like, you single-handedly,
She's really trying.
I guess.
She's, like, really sticking to this campfire rule of leave a relationship better or leave the person better than when you started the relationship
I
for the
guess.
next person.
So they go to wait, anything else about that conversation?
No, I just wanted to point out how fucking rude and annoying he was when she was getting dressed.
Oh, yeah. So they're getting ready to go to his parents' house the next day, and, like, he just doesn't know what it takes for a woman like this to look the way that she does.
Mhm.
Like, and he's just
And she
so
looks
rude.
good, like, it's
Yeah.
not like she's taking hours and then coming out looking a mess.
Yeah, and he's just badgering her about how she's taking so long, but she's, like, anxious about wearing the right thing, looking, presentable and, not too glam, not,
Mhm.
schlubby, and he's like he's she's asking for his help, and he's just being, like,
Yeah,
obnoxious
he's being
and
a child
and
as usual.
hot-headed. Yeah, I just he is, like he is both a, like, 13-year-old boy and, like, an 80-year-old man, and he is not like a 48-year-old.
Some people would describe that as complicated, and people are into complicated men. That's what Misha
Oh,
likes about him.
okay, whatever.
But I do wanna point out that the s stress and thought that she put into the outfit really paid off because they were wearing Nadia and Misha were wearing matching shirts.
Oh, yeah, that's true, yeah, Nadio's, like, basically wearing the same thing in white, so
Yeah.
yeah,
Notice the
go
bubble
Misha.
sleeves? No, Nicola did not notice the bubble sleeves. He's
He most certainly did not. So they get to Nicola, excuse me, Nicola's mom's house,
which is
and
his house because he lives with her.
right. And he, like, doesn't introduce her really, or, like, kind of does, and then he, like, runs away and leaves, like, his mom, who speaks Arabic, with Misha, who does not,
Yeah,
um, just sitting there, and she has to, like, tell him, like, "Hey, can you be mindful about, like, being here to translate?" And he just doesn't give a shit because
yeah,
he doesn't wanna do this at all, and he's
yes.
just being a huge brat about it. I love that she brought flowers, and she
Uh-huh.
immediately complimented that it smelled good, and the mom
She's a good guest. She is
yeah,
friendly and anyway, keep going.
mhm. But the mom says, "Oh, Nadia cook." Like, "I'm Nadia, I cooked." I thought that was really cute. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought Misha was doing everything right.
Mm,
Nicola was doing everything wrong.
yeah.
And then Misha was good about directing him, like you mentioned, and and explaining to him why it's important. Like, you have to be mindful about the person who doesn't speak Arabic, like translating for her.
Yes.
And did he say something like, "Oh, you don't need to talk to her"?
Yes. He doesn't want them to talk. He doesn't want I think he just thinks that he wants to, like, basically ask for forgiveness. He wants to get married
Mhm.
and, like, "Oh, see, it's done. We can't change it, like, because 'cause we're not supposed to get divorced because 'cause we're Catholic. Here is a
Mm.
wife, you gotta deal with it."
Interesting, okay.
That's his ideal situation, I think, because he, like, doesn't want her he doesn't wanna introduce her, he doesn't wanna say how they met, he doesn't wanna do anything like that, but he's an idiot, obviously, because his brother's supposed to speak English, so
Mhm.
they're gonna tell
Yeah.
mom.
I also wanna say that Nadia, I felt like he was being like, she was giving good vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she had cool purple nails.
Yes.
And yeah, she was making well, I would call them dolmas, but
Uh-huh.
domades, but what were they
Mhm.
calling them?
Vine
Yeah,
vine leaves. Yeah.
vine leaves, grape leaves. Yeah, she made so much food. Oh, the food looks so good. Do you remember how
It
good the
looked
food was in Israel?
yeah, it was really
Okay,
freaking good.
name top 3 places you've been with the food or, like, you know what I mean. Top food, top food. You don't have to give me, like, a 1, 2, 3, just, like, top 3.
Well, Italy
Mm, mhm,
and
mm.
probably okay, Cambodian barbecue,
Ooh, I
but
didn't have that.
specifically Cambodian barbecue and because 'cause I'm a canophile, poutine.
Okay, so you're going Israel, Cambodia, Canada.
No, I said Italy,
Italy,
but no,
Cambodia, Can
Israel has to be up there. That hummus that we had, that we ate with, like, raw onion
I
was
did not eat the raw
so
onion, but just like the pita and the hummus and, oh, the Israeli
yeah,
salad, everything was just so fresh and bright and, oh, I loved
yeah,
it.
it was so
Uh,
yum.
Mine is Israel,
Yeah.
Vietnam.
Mm,
China was really good too, but I'm gonna say my mom's house.
In case she's listening.
Yeah. She's not
I get
listening, but, like, she has brainwashed me. I love her
yeah.
food.
Your mom's a good cook. Um, I get cravings for Vietnamese food. I can't wait to go and just, like, eat my way through that country.
Oh my gosh, you should meet up with Violet.
We could I'd be a way better boyfriend than Riley, that's for sure.
Okay, sorry, back to Meisha and Nicola. So then the brothers come, and it's this weird turn where they're like, "Tell us, we don't know who you are. Tell us about yourself." And Meisha wants Nicola to say, like, "Tell him about me." And he goes, "No, I don't wanna tell people about my private life." That's what he said, right?
Yes. Well, she's here now, and if you don't say something, she's going to. He's just being so obstinate. I just don't he's like, "I checked the box. You've met them." You know,
Totally,
but he doesn't
exactly
wanna
a good point.
do facilitate anything else. And this is just I think this is just going to be the struggle for the rest of her life with this man
Mhm.
if they keep going, because I think this is why he is so into religion and dogma, because he's like, if I check the box for this kind of Catholic behavior, I'm a good person. If
Mm.
I pray, with like Catholicism, you have the rosary beads, you have to say Hail Marys. It's like a numerical system. You like say a number of Hail Marys to like absolve yourself from a sin. It's like
Yeah, there's
not
not,
it.
like, almost, like, critical thinking about, like, how to be a good
Mhm.
person. It's just like, I check these boxes, I do these tasks.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's going to be, and like she has life experience, so I don't think she sees things as black and white as he does. But that's why he's a freaking 38-year-old. Like I don't think he's an
Sorry, he's
incel by any means, but
46. He's a
sorry, 40
46-year-old virgin who
46-year-old.
can't drive.
Right. So, yeah, he's a real piece of work. I'm
Yeah.
glad I'm not dating him. But also don't feel that bad for Misha now that I know that she's a flat earther, so
Yeah, I'll need to dig into that. Is she,
I
like, a
mean,
conspiracy theorist that NASA never went into space?
I don't know, I just saw some posts on Reddit that her Instagram is kind of a wild place. I haven't, like, gone that too deep
How
into it, but
fun. Okay.
I can send you some stuff if I find the time.
Yeah. Do we wanna do Jasmine and Gino or, Riley and Violet?
No, let's end with Riley and Violet because
Okay.
that was a lot.
Okay.
Um,
The opening scene of The Best Couple on television is them trimming each other's nose hairs. Have you
I
ever done that? You are
no, I
not in
didn't.
love. I'm also not in love. I'm gonna ask to trim Brody's nose hairs tomorrow, and then ask
Okay.
him to trim mine.
I just have in capital letters "Y"
True.
written down.
So, did you notice anything fun in the suitcase?
Yes, I sure did.
Please tell me what you noticed.
The dog's running in and out of this suitcase, and the butt plugs are still in the package in the suit. I freaking
Thank you,
love
producers.
I
Thank
love
you.
the producers. That I do you think that means that they haven't been used, or she's just keeping the box?
I think they haven't been used. They
That's
had
what
some
I
pee
thought.
play.
Yeah, God, don't remind me.
Uh, she says something, I think it was in the ITM, or no, she said it to him, like, whatever, basically that, like, each time he's ejaculated, like like, that they're together, and I'm like, "Whoa, so it's happened multiple times? How many times did you pee on it?" Okay, anything else before we dive into this awkward ass conversation about babies?
She looks like a Bratz doll.
What are those clips? Yeah, perfect description, she looks like a Bratz doll.
I just don't understand where she even got the idea for them. Like, was that
That's
even
not how you use those little clips. You need to put your hair in, like, pseudo cornrows and twist them and then clip them 2 inches away from your from your hairline.
Exactly, like, that's not even how they were used, they're just, like, in there just hanging out.
Yeah.
It was very odd. Um,
So Gino, they're walking down the road, which I just can only imagine it is sweltering and just stick.
uh
And he goes, "So, do you think you're pregnant? Looking a little pregnant." So fucking rude, first of all.
Yeah, I
And you like,
know.
even if you jizzed in her 5 times within the last week,
Yeah.
like, no, that's not how it works. You're 53. I barely should have been able to get pregnant because I'm so stupid and didn't know about the chromosome things you told me about the other week. But you're an asshole, Gino, and
Yeah,
they're not using any protection.
well, she's on birth control.
She
She
said that
said
she's
that
not anymore.
episode?
Well, he said that she was when they met, she wasn't on birth control.
Oh, last season, she lied about that. She told
I
him that
love
she
her.
Yeah. Last season, when we first see them meet, season 5, he's talking about wanting to get pregnant, and she she says in ITM that she's not stopping her birth control because she thinks that's crazy to
Good
get
for her.
pregnant the first time that they're meeting. I know, yeah,
And
she
then but I mean, joke
is
was on
smarter
her
than she
because
looks.
she had to wait 2.5 years for him to actually come in her. We've been making this is inappropriate, I won't say it. I'll say it. We've been making there's a family friend that's like would like ask Brody, like, "Well, why aren't you having kids? Like you gotta talk to my son. He's figured it out." I'm like, oh, now
Figured
you get
what
to
out? Sex?
so Brody and I have been making jokes like to each other, like, "Oh yeah, like they probably thought you were putting it in my butt for years." And you just
Yeah, what? That's so it's also just so inappropriate to comment on anyone's
yeah, yeah.
fertility, you know? Like, you don't know what's going on. Like, my son, I'm so curious what they think their son has figured out and what they think. Yeah, I'm so curious what is going on in their tiny little mind. Wow. Oh
You
my
can ask them at the
goodness.
baby shower.
Okay, great. I'm excited. I have a lot of people to ask a lot of inappropriate
Yes.
things at your
Oh.
baby shower.
You're gonna be very busy.
So busy. Oh my goodness. Oh, just Gino says the relationship, or Jasmine, excuse me, says the relationship isn't strong. Babies makes things worse. So I don't know why I hadn't thought about this, but like she doesn't think their relationship is strong. And, like, I don't know what about it made me think that she thought their relationship was strong, but it was just an insight. Um, I guess I assumed that they thought their relationship was strong because they're so obsessed with one another, you know? But I
You
guess,
think
like,
that they thought their rela you think that they think their relationship is strong?
yes. But I
Yeah, I
think
mean, they're
co
crazy.
codependent, like, but codependence is different than, like, having a
Strong
strong
relation
relationship.
yeah. I mean, they just started effectively communicating together or with each
Yes.
other.
So
So
that's more on me than on them.
and he's like, "I thought you wanted a baby." And then she starts explaining what you were saying, and then, then she says, like, she'll be alone when she gets to Michigan, and he's like, "Well, I'll be there." Well, you can't not have a hat on. Like,
Yeah.
how are you going to actually help this woman? And her like, it's just like her family won't be around. His
Yeah.
family, it's not a it's not a good replacement. It's like
Yeah.
his family for her family.
'Cause they don't like her. They've made
Yeah.
that obvious.
Uh-huh. And she did mention that her boys were gonna come to Michigan, and I wrote, "Phew." So you're not leaving them motherless for Gino.
So I don't understand how that works though, because like one kid is with the father, which makes sense, and then she sent the other one to live with her grandmother in the country. It's just
And
it's
then
just
they're
so
gonna come to
interesting.
Michigan.
I guess. I don't think they're gonna have fun there. I think Panama seems like a lot more fun.
I think it is too.
Yeah.
But he wants a kid, which and then he keeps talking about how he thinks that it's gonna make him happier or
Or
that
make him complete.
yeah,
And
he said that. Yeah, you're right. He said
you're like
complete.
you're like almost 60. Like you you think a kid is like this key to your happiness like at 60?
Yeah,
It's
and
bizarre.
that is pathetic. There's
Uh,
actually, like I say this as someone with child
yeah.
that is currently with child. Um, there are many studies showing that you are happier with no kids.
And with no husband.
Yeah. So he's stupid and pathetic if he thinks that a kid's gonna complete him because no, it could enrich your life, but it's not going if you're not complete, that's on you.
Absolutely. I am like, we were told our whole lives that women women be baby crazy and women be trying to get pregnant to like lock down a man and women be trying to be pregnant. And in my lived experience, that is not true. Like,
I agree.
sure, there are so many women that, want to be parents that I know, but in my lived experience, like men are the ones that are baby crazy. Men are the ones that are obsessed with their like legacy through children.
Mhm.
Like I had a friend when I was in my early 20s who he was baby crazy. He just wanted to like make babies. And I'm like, "What do you mean you want to
Was it
like
Nick
make babies
Cannon?
all over the world?" Could have been.
He wants to make babies all over the world?
Yeah, he was like, "I wanna travel and just, like, make babies everywhere," and I'm like, "What? Why?" And I don't know. I also have a friend who they got married last year, and he's like he had like, before they got married, he was like, "I have a 5-year plan from now. In 2 years, I want us to have our first kid. Like, 2 years from then, I want us to have our next kid." And then she was like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa. I'm not having kids with you unless we get married." And he was like, "Okay, done." And so then they got married. and, and then he's like, "Okay, well, baby train." And she's like, "Well, we're still living in a house that your parents own. So I want us to have our own house." And he's like, "Okay, god damn it." So
Do they have kids now?
no, they're she's not pregnant yet because they don't have their own house yet. So
Oh,
that is
wow.
so he's tweaking the plan, that's gonna be next year. They're
But
gonna
sh
get
but
a
she's
house.
not saying no kids.
She's not saying no
She's
kids,
just saying
but
not right
yeah, she's saying not right
now. Yeah.
now. But I just think it's funny that he is the one who is like driving the whole thing and he is the
Well,
one.
I think because is this friend around our age?
Yes.
Millennials? Okay.
Yeah.
I think that we saw we saw how much fell on our moms,
Yeah.
and most of our moms had careers. So there
Totally.
was all the homework well, yes, all the homework, but all the domestic work, and
Yeah.
then having a career
Going
and,
to
like,
work.
quote, unquote,
Mhm.
"having it all," and we
Yeah.
saw, like, how the dads, even if they were involved,
Mhm.
did not have that amount of pressure, and so
Mhm.
I think that we wanted not that I don't think our parents had nice lives, but we, like, wanted different or better for ourselves.
Totally. Yeah.
So, I mean, I know in my relationship, yeah, Brody was baby crazy, wanted a baby with me, like, the first night he met me. I'm breeding material. I don't know if you know that, like a Clydesdale. Um, but, like, I was very apprehensive about it. I mean, we've been together
Yeah.
for 8 years, married for 5, and somehow he dickmatized me in those years. But it was like he didn't have a plan, but and I think Jasmine said something like, "We're not, like, ready to have a kid," and, like,
Like, in
that
their
cliche
relationship, yeah.
yeah. There's the cliche saying of, like, "There's no time is, like" or, like, "You're never ready."
Right.
Never a good time. I think you
Mhm.
could set yourself up for success.
Yeah, sure.
Like
But, like, does she wanna he says that a kid will make him, quote, unquote, "complete." He's 58, so by the time if they got pregnant whenever they had this conversation, he would be 59, 60 when the kid is born. He's gonna be in his 80 he's gonna be
that's a
80 when
granddad.
it graduates high school? Like, you can't he can't muster the energy to,
Fuck.
like, be in missionary position. Is he going to be run around after a toddler? Like, is he going to have energy to stay up late to, like, admonish a teenager when they're past their curfew? Like, I just don't see any of this
No,
working out logistically. It's
and
just like this.
Jasmine sees that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just really glad that she's holding her own here. He looks legitimately bewildered. Like, some of their stuff, sometimes it looks like it's kind of scripted, or they, like, talked about it before, they filmed it. But, like, I feel like his face looked genuinely bewildered. Like, he looked genuinely hurt by this.
Yeah, because guys think that just everyone wants to procreate with them.
Yeah. I think, to your point, he's older than millennials. I think he just assumes, like, this is going to be a cakewalk because I won't actually have to do much. Like, he says, I'll
Mhm.
be retired and I'll be home. But we don't know what his experience with kids is. And he hasn't had his own. So, like, how does he
Mhm.
know how much it really takes? Like, she's trying to tell him it's chaotic. It's a lot. She's already done it twice.
Mhm.
Does she it sounds like
Does
she
she
doesn't wanna
wanna do
do
it
it again.
again?
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear this whole thing about, like, not wanting to deal with diapers after your kids are, like, out of diapers, and so then having to, like,
Oh,
start over again.
and, like, okay, so she's, like, 10 years younger than him. No, almost 20 years, right?
Is she 33?
No, she's older than that. I forget.
Okay.
I think she's in her late 30s or early 40s, and then he's almost 60, so that's a 20-year age difference. So then she will be if he so, like, the kid's out of diapers by the time he's, like, what, 63, say? I don't know how long kids wear diapers.
Well,
And then
depends.
she has, like, a 10-year break before he might need diapers.
Talk about the sandwich generation.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's not doing anyone any favors to do
She's
this. I think he's
34
Oh, she's 34?
and he's
Really?
52. So he's not almost 60, but
Okay, 52. Wow, they both seem older than that to me.
yeah. I mean, we think her kids are like 10ish.
I think so.
Yeah. Like they can like make their own breakfast. Like why do you want to go back to like doing everything
I
for them? People keep
Oh,
telling me
man.
like, "Oh, everything's going to go by so fast and like you're just going to." And I do think things are going to go by really fast, but I also want to tell you that when and I know dogs are not people, but with
Mhm.
Zephyr, I just wanted her to be full grown so I could just like roughhouse with a full grown dog. Like, I'm so glad we got her as a puppy and we, like, have that relationship and watched her grow and all of that, but, like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be like, "Yo, wiped your own butt! Couldn't happen soon enough."
I think it's just, like, people miss how I think when you're dealing with, like, a screaming toddler or, like, an indignant 8-year-old, you're like, "Wow, I really miss when they were just, like, a potato in a little bassinet, and I could just put them in another room and let them cry it out. You know, I think that's
And my
maybe what
tits
people.
were the size of my head, and I
You're
lost
gonna,
control of my bladder. Like, I don't.
yeah, all that great stuff. Oh my goodness. Anything else
Anywho,
about Prissy or
I
Gino
just love
and Jasmine?
Jasmine. I love Jasmine
Yeah.
so much.
She really she really contains multitudes, and I think that's why we love her, you
Mhm.
know?
Yeah, Jasmine for president.
Oh, yeah. She'd
Mhm.
probably have, like, a great economic agenda.
And for the environment.
Totally.
Yeah. Okay. I think that Riley and Violet are my least favorite couple because Riley sucks donkey butt.
Mhm.
He brings flowers to this meeting, but then puts them under the table in some sort of test to see if she earns them, is how I took it.
I was like, because the teasers we got were him handing her the flowers and saying, "This is me apologizing," and I was like, "Oh, so he's not gonna say sorry. He's just gonna be like, 'This is me apologizing.'" But
Yeah.
he does eventually say sorry, but I love that she was like, "It's not sincere."
Yeah. Well, I just loved her saying, like, I'm receiving these flowers, but that doesn't mean that I forgive you.
Yeah,
Or like I'm
they
receiving you, like I'm receiving your apology, but yeah, it's not enough.
he is in this conversation where they're talking about the fight,
Mhm.
and he is still operating under the pretense that he didn't goad Tiffany into asking these
Ugh.
questions of her.
Yeah.
Like, he is operating under the pretense that Violet is a dumb piece of shit who
She's
can't
not.
see through this. And that says so much more about Riley and his respect for women and his respect for Violet as a partner.
Mhm.
And like he also in his ITM says that they both have to acknowledge their roles in this. And I'm like, what was Violet's role?
Yeah.
What was Violet's role
But
in
she
you
didn't
telling your
answer. Yeah.
what was Violet's role in you getting this woman with sunglasses on FaceTime to ask her questions that you gave her ahead of time, and then you screaming at her, "Beat it," when she didn't answer the questions? What was Violet's role in that
Not
exactly?
being a like submissive person who gets walked on and well, she said trampled. She did feel trampled. Yeah.
Yeah, I really felt for her in this. Did you
Yeah.
see his jaw clenching when she was
Uh-uh.
talking to him? He
Like he
it
was
was
angry?
his body language was creeping me out. Like, his eyes were bugging out of his head, and his they showed his jaw clenching when
Mm.
she says that he didn't protect her in the conversation
Yeah,
with
I wonder if that's a
Tiffany.
triggering word for him for some reason.
Protect?
Yeah,
Maybe. I mean, he didn't.
I
I
agree. But I wonder, like, if an ex has said that or if there's something with,
Oh,
like, his military background where he's like, I protect."
maybe. Yeah. He's trying really, really hard to contain his rage in this conversation.
Mhm. I was
And
too. I hated him. I was containing it.
yeah, and it's like it's really creepy to watch. Like Violet, I feel like in this, I think where Violet's coming from is that her like for her a real apology would be changed behavior, because she says like, I'm accepting this apology, but like I don't find it sincere. And I think she doesn't find it sincere because she hasn't seen changed behavior, and they only have 4 days left
Doesn't
together.
really
And
see change behavior later on.
exactly, yeah. And so I don't think like I don't know if this is going to go anywhere, because like he just wants he wants someone to like, what's the word? He just wants her to submit. He wants someone to boss around, and that's not Violet. she's, like, showing him his behavior, and he doesn't like it.
Mhm. What did you think about her saying like, asking him, like, "If you have a hard question, like, write it down, let's translate it, and I'll answer it."
I was a little surprised that she would say that because she does speak really good English, but I guess that couldn't hurt?
I agree. I guess I liked the suggestion. I was surprised that this is coming up now,
Yeah, for sure.
but I also was thinking she's a smart person, and a lot of people I know that when they speak English and English isn't their first language and they're intelligent, that's rude of me to say, but I think you get what like, they
Yeah.
want to
Yeah.
speak perfect English. Even
Mm,
though we understand them, we get what they're talking about, like,
yeah.
emotionally or, not just,
Mhm,
like, at face value, but they
mhm.
want to express themselves the way that they can in their native tongue.
Right.
And so I
Yeah.
think that that's where she's coming from, where she's like, "Well, you're asking me these, like, hard-hitting questions. I can give you what she thinks is, like, a sophomoric level answer."
Mhm.
But where I'm like, "Whoa, you know 2 languages? Damn."
Yeah. I know. I was impressed that, English isn't her first language, and she was like, "This it I accept your apology, but I don't find it sincere." I was like, "Whoa." Like,
Yeah. Like, she's
that's also
doing an awesome job, but I think
yeah.
in her mind, she's sounding childish or something,
Sure,
where
I could see that.
she wants to be able to maybe be a little bit more poetic or something
Mhm.
in Vietnamese.
Yeah.
And then he fucking doubts that as a reason in his ITM, and I just want to kick him in the butt.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's an excuse, but I just don't see what's the downside, or like how could she like manipulate that to get something out of you? Like, okay, you wrote down a question. Now it's written down and she can respond properly.
Mhm.
Like what like how is that devious? He
Yeah.
just like doesn't respect her. He just doesn't trust her.
Yeah.
It's it's and this is a Riley problem. It's not a Violet problem.
Mhm. Yeah. So then they're going to the Buddhist temple, and he wants to look
Mhm.
fantastic, so he's steaming his traditional garb.
Oh, die. I thought he actually looked good in it. I thought that was a good color on him.
Oh, nice. What'd you think of the word "mantastic"?
Oh, yeah. I think I blacked that out.
Cool. Okay. You never wanna hear anyone
I
say it. I would like to hear, like, a
I
gay guy say it, but I don't wanna hear him say it.
no. I also like, what does that even mean? Mantastic.
Who knows?
It honestly, it kind of sounds like a men's rights term. Like, we
Um,
are mantastically asserting our masculinity or something.
okay,
I
but,
don't
like,
know.
what if it's Kentastic?
Oh, I'm in all into that.
Yeah, me
Yeah.
too. So, they're going to the Buddhist temple. She's not Buddhist, but she admires Buddhism. She and I have that in common.
Interesting.
What did you think of it?
I thought it was a beautiful place. I feel like I'm not Buddhist. I also admire Buddhism.
Oh,
I feel
another
like
thing we have in common. I love you.
Me too. I feel like it's also probably like cultural. It sounds like
Totally.
this is just a place in Ho Chi Minh City where people go to, I don't know, find connection and chill out when maybe stuff isn't going great.
Mhm. So he says in his ITM that, like, he feels calm in this space, and he, like, really, like, seemed to have maybe spiritual awakening is too strong of a term, but he just was he loved the space.
Yeah.
I hate him.
Even when he's having a spiritual awakening.
Yeah, I
He
just I feel like he's trying too hard in that moment. I could be totally wrong, but from the temples I saw in Vietnam, that was kind of a mediocre temple.
Mhm.
So, like, I mean, we've been to different religious places, and even when we're not that religion, you can kind of like feel something.
Mhm.
I'm not sure he actually got it from that space.
I do feel like he's trying on this ao dai, this traditional Vietnamese garment. I feel like he's literally, like, trying on being a respectful person for, like,
Ooh.
36 hours. Because it doesn't last
Oh,
long.
it doesn't last long. Oh, I like this. It's almost like he's putting on a costume, and now he's
Yeah.
gonna, like, act right.
He tries. Yeah, again, it doesn't last long.
Wait,
But
sorry.
I was surprised when they were, like, at the cafe, he was clenching his jaw and bugging his eyes out, but he wasn't screaming at her.
Okay.
So, improvement.
So, I wanna do a quick little exercise. You're
Okay.
at this temple. Let's pretend that it's not mediocre, that it's beautiful and calming and just a spiritual place.
Okay.
Y You're praying to a statue of
Okay.
Buddha. What are you praying
Okay.
about?
I don't know, world peace and of world hunger,
Mm.
that my ass will always be voluptuous and juicy,
Those are
stuff like
things
that.
that's actually the top 3 things I would wish for as well. Um, he prayed that his words don't hurt anyone.
So dumb.
What the fuck? I don't know what
Like,
that word
yeah.
is. Is it narcissism? Is it psychopath? Like, what? What?
Again, just like, yeah, trying it on. I feel like it's totally he's like, "Oh, this'll like make Violet think I'm like a good boy if I say this." I think it's bizarre.
But it's
It's
also
completely
like
bizarre.
he prays that his words don't hurt anyone instead of praying that he can learn to communicate effectively.
Right. Yeah.
Like, there's a difference there.
Because he can't assume responsibility for
Yeah.
anything. Like
Yeah, you're right.
that's
It's like
why
putting the sensitivity on someone else.
that's why that apology at the cafe was, like, physically difficult for him because everything in his life, like, everything is about how he feels. See he can't just take responsibility unilaterally for anything, even if it is his fault, because he feels wronged in so many places, like, and so his feeling of wrongness, whether or not it's, like, correct, is like all consuming. So yeah, he's like trying on this Zen Riley, which is like, yeah, it feels very creepy and very put upon because it's not sincere. Violet sees right through it,
Mhm. Ugh, she's good. Not as great as Jasmine, but I like Violet.
which looked cool. That was so cool to see all the kites in the air. Like, what a
Mhm.
fun time to argue.
Okay. I also wanna just point out that he said some, like, really embarrassing things, like, "I've never done this. I've never flown a kite before. Oh, look what we can do when we work together." I'm not amused by you. You're pathetic. There's so many pathetic men on this that he never flew a kite before?
I don't know.
Okay, anyway.
The Maybe this is telling us that, he had a bummer childhood and that's why he is the way he is.
Maybe. So she asked about money. What'd you think of that?
Oh, I love that. I also feel like this is probably one of those things where it's both cultural and maybe the language. I think Vietnam is a much more straightforward culture. So she asks him, like, how much is in your bank account? You can see the offense taken on his face initially. You
Mhm.
can see him want to have an outsized reaction, but he's trying on Zen Riley. So he's
Mhm.
like, okay,
And the clock's ticking on him.
I'm gonna I'm gonna take this at face value. And he's like, okay, this is how much I have in my bank account. Makes me curious how much he's spending on cigars because he's older and like that's not a ton to have in investments
Investments
uh,
and savings.
and savings.
I mean,
And
Pennsylvania
like,
isn't West Virginia, but it's it's not California, but it's not Ohio.
yeah, yeah. I'm guessing maybe
Or
expenses
he
are
lied.
just, or he lied, maybe. Yeah. Well, he says, I look broke, look
Yeah,
good.
okay, what did you think of that?
I'm just like, okay, so that's not a lot, and maybe you don't make a ton or you haven't saved a ton, but like I'm just so curious what he's spending his
Yeah, 'cause
money
he's
on.
it's a government salary, so he's not making a lot, but he's not making nothing.
No,
Like,
like
sorry, he's not making, like, tech money, but he's not making nothing.
right, yeah, and it seems like I assume he owns that house
Yeah,
and he lives in the middle of nowhere, so I can't imagine his mortgage is that much. I'm just
yeah,
like so curious where all his money went. But
we'll never know.
yeah, very very interesting. But then he says like, "Yeah, I'll take care of all of you. We'll figure it out."
Mhm.
So, kind of like the David conversation, he just is like, "Yeah, not a big deal. I'm not worried about this." So, he's like probably thought about this a little bit before going there
Yeah,
and
eh, yeah, his answer was like David, but I feel like how it plays out would be so different between the 2.
oh, like he's definitely going to hold money over her head if she
Uh-huh,
goes over to the
exactly,
US.
exactly.
1,000%. He's going to want all the receipts. He's going to want to see the credit card statements. He's going to be real, real obnoxious about it
Mhm,
because he's got to control.
exactly. So then he asks her if she regrets texting his father. She says no.
Well, they're like sitting down after kite flying, and I think they're trying to just like, he's trying to, he goes like, okay, well, you asked me a question just now about the bank account. So no, I want to ask a question. And he like has all these like caveats about it. He's just like,
Mhm.
I'm not
Just
trying to
one
fight.
question.
I'm just
Yeah,
one
not an
question. I'm
argument.
just asking. Da da da. I'm not trying to argue. Do you regret texting my dad? And you
Such
can
a
just see
leading
him
question.
so leading, and you can see immediately on her face how exhausted she is about talking about this. This is
Mhm.
definitely not the first time it's come up. And she starts to protest like we agreed to let like the past be the past,
Yeah.
and he's not
I'm
playing
just asking.
ball with her. Yeah,
Asking.
he just can't let things, he has to have the last word
Mhm.
on everything. And if it doesn't feel resolved to him, then it's not resolved, period, in their
Yeah.
relationship.
Mhm. In his ITM, he is getting heated about how she doesn't regret it, but he says that she doesn't regret texting the dad and hurting him, Riley. That's not what he asked. He asked if she
Yeah,
regrets texting the dad, not that if she regrets hurting Riley. Like,
well,
it's a different thing. So maybe you should have put that in your translation app, jerk.
yeah, maybe.
King
uh
ill feelings.
She's funny. Yeah, Riley has what I would call main character syndrome, which I think is just like a cute
God, I
way
love
of
Gen
saying
Z.
narcissistic personality disorder. But
No cap.
yeah, no. Oh my gosh, wow, you are so youthful.
I know, so
Such a
young.
such a youth.
Yeah.
King kill feelings. I mean, like, doesn't that tell you everything you need to know about the relationship? How is someone gonna be? She's sitting here, blank face, telling you your king kill feelings. I don't want to talk about the past with you. You're annoying. Where do you go from here? Like
Marriage.
90 day 90-day K1 visa. That's where
Yes.
you go. Oh my goodness.
Anything else on them? Because I've got a good F Mary Kill for you.
I actually took notes and wrote one down this week. I'm very
Oh,
proud
do
of
you wanna go
myself.
first?
Sure. And yeah, nothing else on Riley and Violet.
Okay.
Okay. So Dempsey's tiger print coat that they had in the hero image. Do you remember that? It's like a faux black and white tiger print
Yeah.
coat, Jasmine's barrettes, and Sheila's curves are beautiful t-shirt.
I wanna marry them all. I wanna fuck them all. Okay. I'm going to marry the tiger print coat. I think it's my style. I get cold all the time, so it'll be useful.
Useful, yeah.
Yeah. I've always wanted to fuck something curvy, so I'm gonna fuck that t-shirt.
It's like probably a Philippines medium and then a US like extra, extra, extra small.
Perfect. And then as much as I like think you can do a lot with those hair clips, I have to kill how she had them in her hair.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Okay.
What would you do?
I think I'm gonna fuck the barrettes because they're just zazzy,
They're
you know?
fun. Yeah.
I will also marry the coat because yeah, warmth and who knows? You probably want it around for like you could wear it to a Halloween party. You could wear it to a Christmas party. You could wear it to New
A board
Year's, you know?
meeting. You
Exactly.
wear it to the grocery store.
Sure.
And wear it to a Buddhist temple. It's very versatile.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna have to kill the curves are beautiful shirt
Yeah.
because I can't contend with an extra, extra, extra small shirt that says curves are beautiful.
That was a good one. I didn't put as many thought into mine, but I'm gonna give it to you anyway.
Okay.
Okay, they're all activities. You have to fuck, marry, kill activities. And
Okay.
I originally was gonna throw astrology in there, but I knew you were gonna
Mhm.
marry astrology. So, okay,
Okay.
kite flying, beach day in the
Oh.
Philippines, or fishing at that treacherous cove.
Oh god. Okay, killing the fishing
I also want to
because
say like kite flying in Ho Chi Minh. Like,
right.
yeah,
Right. Okay. Yeah, kill the fishing immediately because I think fishing is a very light facade for drinking outside. I don't think anyone has ever actually caught a fish. And also
the Lord Jesus himself caught some fish.
my mistake.
Okay.
Okay, so beach day in the Philippines or flying a kite in Ho Chi Minh City. I think I'm gonna marry beach.
Mm.
My job is beach. Um, and then fuck the kite flying. That's a good one. What would you do?
Oh gosh. I don't know because like I don't want to fuck a beach because of sand, but I don't know if
Yeah.
I could marry a Filipino beach.
Like legally or
Doesn't seem well, obviously you can't marry a place, Roxanne. No, the food looked really good. Okay. Did you say you're marrying the beach?
Yes.
Okay, I'm marrying the beach because then I won't get things in my bits. And I'll get that good food.
Yeah.
Just to be opposite of you, I'm gonna fuck that fishing day. I'm gonna get drunk. I'm gonna fall on some rocks. Yeah. And then I'm gonna kill kite flying because I hated what Riley said about teamwork and
Yeah.
all that made me want to barf.
You know what about the fishing? You were a light beer aficionado in
College.
college.
Yes.
Yeah.
I hope
So,
to be one
and I think
again soon.
yeah. So, yeah. I think that's
Mhm.
apropos. Good ones. I like those.
Yeah. Oh, those hair clips.
They're gonna haunt me. Okay, everyone. Thank you. Again, we're recording
Thank
late next
you.
week, but we will have an episode. So have a
Yeah,
great
don't you
week.
worry. We're here
Don't
for
worry.
you. You
All right.
know.
Bye.
Bye. Love you. Whoa, I just said I love you to the podcast.
Good.
What am I, Statler? Bye.
Bye.